Hi friends, Travis here. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you, and of course, if you've been here before, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to go over my likes, my dislikes, and I'll give some final thoughts on my cruise on MSC Meraviglia back in February. It's been a couple months now, but I took extensive notes and I just went through the whole vlog series. If you want to see that, that is on the channel. Basically, day by day, everything I did on board, etc. I'll link that in a card above. But yeah, so I'm ready to reflect on that adventure now. We've got Callie behind me, so we know it's going to be a good one. So yeah, if at any point you like what you see, feel free to like, comment, share this video, all those things. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and move right on into the video. If you've never seen one of these videos here before, I'd like to start with the dislikes and then I'll move into the likes and close out with my final thoughts, kind of like, you know, get the negative out of the way and end on a positive note. So yeah, for my first dislike, I have to say that bar service was pretty slow. This is an MSC thing that I've experienced before on other ships, etc. But it was especially noticeable on this sailing of MSC Meraviglia, and we weren't at full capacity. We were pretty full, but not all the way, so I'm not really sure what the issue was. The ratio of bartenders to guests was good, but I especially noticed this at places like Ocean Key and the Sky Lounge on board. For some reason, I always had such slow service there, even if I was like the only one in the room. Hopefully that's something they improve upon, but I don't have high hopes considering this is like my third year of sailing MSC, and I've been on several sailings and have experienced this time and time again. But they are improving in a lot of ways, so maybe that's something they'll address in the near future. For my second dislike, I have to ding the buffet. It was very repetitive. It was often hard to find things that I liked. This is also another MSC phenomenon that people complain about. Sometimes it's better than others. I've definitely been on MSC Meraviglia where the buffet was much worse than this sailing, but it's worth noting that that wasn't my favorite place to eat. I have to say that the MDR and specialty restaurants on board were excellent. So that's kind of a little bit of a hack, if you will, if you're struggling with the buffet. Make sure you do more sit-down restaurants. The MDR is free, but obviously specialty restaurants do cost more money, but they are worth it in my opinion, especially since the fares on MSC tend to be cheaper compared to like the equivalent Royal or even Carnival sailing. So it definitely might be worth the splurge to eat in a specialty restaurant while you're on board. But yeah, the buffet, it's hit or miss. And then for my last dislike, I have to say that there was some obvious wear and tear this time. I've sailed on this ship multiple times before. The first time was back in 2021, right after the restart. And back then, Meraviglia was very shiny new, and she's even had a dry dock since then, and they've, you know, done some updates and some upgrades. But I noticed some worn carpet and some stains, and the elevator buttons didn't always work, and some of them were like, you know, missing the little numbers on them, and things like that were a little bit more noticeable than they have been on other sailings. The ship isn't new. She's actually going on a decade old now. I think she's what, like 8 years old, something like that. So yeah, she's definitely got a lot of nautical miles on her, hundreds of sailings under her belt. So that sort of thing happens over time. But maintenance is something that I criticize other cruise lines for all the time, and MSC is usually really good about that. So hopefully they'll, you know, fix those minor little defects moving forward, and Meraviglia will be shiny new the next time I sail on her, etc. All right, now that we've got the negative stuff behind us, let's go ahead and talk about what I did enjoy. This was a solo sailing. It was 9 nights, so it was not a short cruise. I spent a few days in New York. I did it back to back with another cruise. So yeah, this was a big trip for me. And I'm obviously a fan of MSC Meraviglia, so I had plenty of things to love this trip. For my first like, I have to say that embarkation was really easy. Getting on board took me less than 30 minutes. I am Diamond, so I got to go into the Diamond lane, but even the regular lane, there didn't seem to be long lines. I may have just timed it really well, but I also have to say that getting to the ship is super easy. I took the ferry across. If you stay by the World Trade Center and in that like downtown area of Manhattan, it's very walkable to the ferry terminal, and the ferry literally drops off right next to the ship. You walk right off and get on board. Super easy. I was a little bit worried about the logistics of it, which I know some of you may be, but don't worry, it's a lot easier than you expect. They know that you're bringing luggage with you. Even on the subway, I rode the subway with luggage. It was not a big deal. So yeah, just go to New York. Enjoy it. Like I said, I do recommend staying near the financial district. I stayed a little bit further up, but next time I'm going to make that adjustment and it'll make my life easier. And yeah, so that's that. For my second like, I have to say that this sailing of MSC Meraviglia had a really good people vibe. I know some people have said that the New York crowd's a little bit rougher and a little bit, you know, less approachable, less kind, etc. than other places that they've sailed, but that was not the case for me on this sailing. I met so many cool people. There were tons of Canadians on board, which I guess makes sense since that's like, you know, the closest cruise port to a major populated area in Canada. But I made friends with several people that I'm still friends with to this day. My buddy Jose, Sarah and her husband from Ottawa. I didn't keep in contact with the Aussies, but they were super cool. people. Who else? I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people. It really was a great sailing, in large part because of the people I met on board and all that. And the last thing I want to say is that the last time I was on MSC Meraviglia, I did a couple of shore excursions, and the shore ex team, while they were friendly and whatever, it seemed very unorganized. It was a little bit of a hot mess, to be honest, but this time I noticed great improvement. I don't know if I just got lucky on what I chose or whatever, but it seemed like the process was much more streamlined, a lot less glitchy. I was going there expecting it to be a hot mess, and it wasn't, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. And so shout out to MSC Meraviglia and the shore ex team and managers and etc. for doing a good job this sailing. And keep up the good work. And then to close things out, I'll give my final thoughts. MSC is a mixed bag. Some people love it. A lot of people don't. They are growing in popularity. They are in several ports now in the U.S. They used to just be in Florida. Now they're in New York. They're in Texas. Probably the West Coast soon. So yeah, they're around to stay, I would say. It's a different vibe if you're used to Carnival and Royal and, whatever else. They definitely do things differently. But I enjoy them. You get a little bit more of an international crowd. And MSC Meraviglia going out of New York, like I said, there were a lot of Canadians on board, but also Asians. There were a lot more Asians than I usually see, which was super cool. And just meeting people from all around the world and having that international vibe and us coming together and enjoying a lot of the same adventures and experiences is super cool to me. That's one of the things I love about MSC. If you're coming in completely blind and you've never sailed before, you're gonna love it, hopefully. If you're coming from other cruise lines, let MSC be its own thing. Don't try to compare too much to what you've already experienced. Let me know in the comments below if you're going on MSC Meraviglia soon, or if you've been on MSC Meraviglia and are watching this video to kind of like see what I thought and compare it to your opinions, etc. Let's open that discussion. If you have any questions, also include those. I'm pretty good about answering everything I receive, but other people in the comments are also eager to help. So yeah, I know a lot of you are probably watching this to do research for your upcoming trip, and so I hope this was helpful. I hope I wasn't too boring. I guess that's it for now. I want to thank you all so much for traveling with me. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. We'll talk soon, and y'all have a good night.